Millennial Book Club. Millennial Book Club.
Welcome to the Mechanical Bull Challenge. You ever ridden a mechanical bull?
I've never ridden a mechanical bull.
Me neither. Would you ever ride
I
a
would.
mechanical
I'm
bull?
not that afraid of it, I don't think. I mean, once it starts going too fast, you're throwing yourself on like pads and
There's
shit.
like a guy that controls it, right? Or they just go, they're like on a computer thing. Or
Either a guy controls it or it's set up to like, if the weight is still on, jack it up every 3 seconds. They don't want someone to get fucking hurt.
You just want to, I would, if there was a joystick.
There might be a one where you can just, but I think people's drunk friends would just be like, get on, bam, and like, you crash your head on something. You know what I mean?
Those are some pretty fun videos. That's why they have like that big pad around the whole thing.
The whole thing is pads, yeah, so you get thrown up. You can still get fucking hurt falling off shit.
Of course.
Because you puss out and you're like, no, you like lock on, no. And then they're like, you shouldn't do that. And then you like fall like wicked close to it and like, you can get fucked up.
Or like your hand gets like stuck in it and it's just like snapping with every jerk. It's like crack,
I don't think
crack.
you're actually tied into it.
Those
guys that ride bulls, though, they can get fucked up by so many things.
I saw this one where this guy, the bull was like bucking.
Yeah.
And you know how the bull bucks up and like his head came down and like smacked on it. And then he was like out, like just out. And
Wait, the bull's ass hit the back of his head? Or
I think it was like his forehead hit the like bull's head. So it was like, and he like went unconscious. But the way he was like saddled there, and because he went loose, now he's going with the flow, and he was just clearly out cold.
Jesus
It
Christ.
was just like going ape shit, trying to, and he couldn't stop the bull because he's like manic, and the guy's just like,
That dude's in a wheelchair and he's fucking eating his food through a fucking straw.
I think it was worse than that.
Oh, God. That is hilarious. He will never regain function.
He never gained any function. No, dude, it's fucked up. All right, well, welcome to the Millennial Book Club, where there is no books, and it's just watching Netflix and Netflix originals. And the homework for this episode was the
Sly,
the documentary Sly, new Netflix original.
first official. I read this somewhere. The first official documentary on Sylvester Stallone. I'm surprised.
Is this really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. His love of film began as an escape from a rocky childhood. From underdog to Hollywood legend, Sylvester Stallone tells his story in this documentary. And, of course, in just a second, we're going to watch a preview before getting into it. But what was I going to say? Yeah, and, of course, we didn't, so I've been using ChatGPT to... Like when I go to post a video, when I post one of our things, and this is the Millennial Book Club as presented by Road Soda Studios.
Presented by Road
I'll
Soda
get this
Studios.
down. Millennial Book Club is presented by Road Soda Studios.
Sponsored by
Popco brands. Sponsored by. Oh, it's confusing, but you'll fucking get it.
Is that the most annoying thing when you're watching a movie and they list like each thing? Then it has to get listed again. It's like, we saw your logo.
Yeah,
And
nobody
it says
cares.
underneath.
And who's it for? It's not like I'm going to be like, let me call up Miramax and
I know.
get a movie done. You know what I mean?
It gets out of hand when there's like 3 studios you like. And some of their fucking things it's so fucking whatever. Like it takes like 11 seconds for this book to open and then and a fucking old lady, it's like, fuck you.
It's like, fuck you. Why are you wasting my time?
My God.
How much money did you put into that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyway, so when I'm going to post this stuff, I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, can you write me a catchy description for a YouTube video describe that where we're talking about, this is Sylvester Stallone, whatever, and it types me up something. And it's like, I explain what the Millennial Book Club is, and it says this witty stuff like, and of course we didn't read any books because there isn't a book. It's like, and we didn't read the book on Reptile because there is no book. Oh, that's
Nice.
pretty good, ChatGPT.
ChatGPT
Is right, because that's my least favorite part, is writing the descriptions. And thinking of a title and writing the description, I don't like it. It's boring.
I don't know why when you said you use ChatGPT, like it's like a blank space for me. Like, what is he going to finish that with? I swear to God, I thought you were going to say, I use ChatGPT to talk dirty to my wife. Hold on, baby. I'll be right in. Tell me, what do I say?
Dude, they have that now where you can add it to your phone. And like, if you're trying to like chat with a girl, it'll be like, you should say this. And it just takes because some guys just don't know how to fucking talk to women and stuff. And it's like, so now it's like you're catfishing a lady with like, who am I talking to here? Am I in love with you or a
You're
robot?
talking to my Chat GPT.
You're in love with
Chat GPTs.
Yeah, and then she's got ChatGPT. This love affair with ChatGPT. All right, well, what do you say? Should we watch the trailer right quick?
Yes.
Let's watch ye old trailer for Sly.
What is healthier? To live under the illusion and still have a little glimmer of hope that you could have been great, or blow it and you realize you're a failure. I think the easier route is to live under the illusion and say, you know, if I had had that chance, I would have beaten all of them.
Of course, you fucking.
Who is this man? I'm Sylvester Stallone.
A little bit.
Artist, writer, poet, performer. How does that happen?
You ever read any
I had
his
given up on
poetry?
acting. I was done.
No.
He wasn't cast in things because he was deemed uncastable.
The rejection was my encouragement. At that point, I knew my fate was determined on the pen.
The genius behind
On
that.
the pen.
This was not an accident.
my fate was determined on the
This is the theater where Rocky premiered. My brother goes, this could be the best day or the worst
was a
day
good-looking
of your life.
Handsome.
Something happened.
He looks all
something
fucked up.
magical.
Now he's all
could hear
fucked
the
up.
cheers from the inside, outside on the street from the theater. It's the last picture of him being unknown.
When Stallone became famous, he wasn't expecting the downside.
When you're a truly absorbed filmmaker, you put things before your family, and the repercussions are quite devastating. Now I realize that's all that fucking matters.
That's all the fucking bad.
I lost everything. Could I actually go back and start over again? Not without family. Without
That looked like a
the
fucking
love,
horror
wife,
film.
children. What's
That
this?
looks like a fucking. Who's the?
These are just pictures of something that never existed. If I can take my frustration and voice it, I have a funny feeling that there's millions of people that have that same frustration that were overlooked. I'm in the hope business.
I'm in the hope in. Sorry, dude, I'm going a little different direction there.
I guess you're telling us how you feel about Sylvester Stallone. So wait, so this is an important question. How you come to this documentary?
All right, I'm gonna stop this real quick.
When you think of Sylvester Stallone, not
Yeah.
in terms of this documentary,
Yes.
which we will talk about.
Yes.
What do you think of? Like, is he a fucking clown?
Rocky.
Is he Rocky? Yes.
Yeah. I think of Rocky and
Is that a good thing or a bad thing when you think about Rocky?
well, I thought Rocky was an amazing movie. It
The
was
first
incredible.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was awesome. I didn't watch it till much later in life. You know, we've been through this so many fucking times. How few movies and how little things I've fucking watched. But occasionally there is I get a wild hair at my ass to try to watch something that's a little more important to culture and life, which you can't say that Rocky isn't. And I don't remember when it was or what I was doing, but I went back and I watched. I found where I watched Rocky 1, and it was great. It was fantastic. It was very dark and kind of not dark.
Gritty.
It was very gritty. You could tell it was it wasn't like an expensive movie, but and it was made in the 70s. It's not like it's the best. They didn't break any ground with cinematography. They didn't break any ground with movie making magic, but it was amazingly well written. And of course, Sylvester Stallone as, himself or as Rocky in this fucking movie. And it was very, it's very him. It was a great piece of, so yeah, I think Rocky.
How about the other Rockies?
I went on, and then I went off and I tried to watch them. I tried to watch the other one, and I started getting lost in them. They were more like little. I mean, he even mentioned on there they started becoming like circus acts. Like I said, I would think the second, third, and fourth one are almost like circus acts, and then you try to bring them around and almost the fifth and the sixth one, or the sixth one, is kind of back to where we began with okay, now it's a good movie again. You know what I mean?
I don't know what the sixth one was.
Sixth one was that kid, that one actor that looks like him, also has the weird face. He's this other actor.
Tommy Gunn, the boxer, was that the guy that played him in Rocky 6? Is it the one that's called Rocky Balboa?
It might be.
No. That's because there's a Rocky 5.
Yes, of course.
This Rocky.
No, they
gritty...
skipped Rocky 5. They went to Rocky 6.
No, wait. So Rocky 1, gritty. It's like an art house movie. It's a good movie. A lot of people
Rocky
like
6 is Rocky Balboa.
Rocky 1.
Milo Ventimiglia. This kid right here who has a very similar. See the fucking I don't
know. From this angle, that looks like Dennis Miller to me.
He's got a very similar sort of.
What year did that come out?
Affect. He has a very similar affect on his face. Okay. 2006.
Oh shit. Okay. So wait. So Rocky 1, it came out like around the time I was born. So I saw it later too. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it's all those things. It's like it's a good movie on a lot of different merits. It's not a boxing movie. It's a fucking art house movie about a struggling dude.
Love story.
He loves it. Yeah. Number 2 was more of like an 80s like pump up movie where it's like super simple story, like guy needs to win this fight. He
kind of lost everything. Now he had I did watch the second one.
That's also an Apollo Creed. That's how you
separate
these movies, right? He fought Apollo Creed in the first one, but it's what it is.
And then Apollo Creed's
Apollo Creed. Mm-hmm. Third one, this is where these movies start to become, and this is when I started watching when they were on, because Mr. T is the guy he fights in the third one, Clubber Lang, way over the top, like maniac, like.
Yeah, and he goes.
To have him in a cage until the next fight, and he's just gonna punch his mother if she gets his way. It was very funny, and it was so like that super dripping cheese 80s like just
machismo.
The whole thing was made by like the agents and the fucking producers, like more. No, put 10 chains, and the director's like, hey, fuck you, I'm the agent. Put 10 chains on him and do this, and. You know what I mean? That's when the movie started. Like that. Rocky 4 is the one where he fights the Russian dude. Because in the beginning, Apollo Creed fights the Russian dude and gets killed in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's all these montages with the Russians like punching things, and the punch meter's like, wow.
But yeah, he's like in this high tech, he's in this like laboratory. It's not even a gym, it's a laboratory, and the lights, it's all dark, and there's like techno going on. He's like doing some machines. He's
50% of his montage, they're giving him shots.
And he's like gonna show, he's like, Brr! And then he cuts to Rocky, and he's chasing chickens and lifting up fucking logs and stuff. And he's like,
running in snow with the fucking wood and doing those sit-ups on the top of that beam or whatever. That's a beautiful story. And that also was right in the time when Russia was bad, we were good.
Oh yeah, Russia bad, US good.
That was in like 50% of movies.
Those movie you can wrap your head around.
It was just like comical. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. I watched the shit out of it because it was I'm like in my teens. I don't know when Rocky.
Can I throw the question right back on you?
Yeah.
When I say Sylvester Stallone, what are you thinking of?
Boom. I think of the Rocky movies in that way that I just described it, because the first one was not really my Rocky. Do you know what I mean? The shitty, chintzy ones with Rocky versus Clubber Lang.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my
that
friends
was your Rocky.
Yeah. What's your prediction for this fight, Clubber? And they just close up of Mr. T and he goes, pain. What the fuck, dude? It's so awesome. It's so cheesy.
So awesome.
Then the fourth one with the Russian, even Bridget Nielsen is his girlfriend. She's a tall Russian. They make her a Russian blonde. She's like the female version of him. She's like ready to beat people's ass.
And who is it? Dolph Lundgren?
Dolph Lundgren, yes. Who just he never did a whole lot. He was that, and then
that was it.
That was a springboard for him, and he was like the star of a couple movies, which fucking sucked. They were like straight to fucking DVD.
Dolph Lundgren.
Straight to VHS, I mean. I'm sorry. This was old.
Yeah.
And then the Rocky movies kept going, and then they passed me by. You know what I mean? There was a time in my life where I'm going to go watch fucking Rocky. What are you talking about? Of course we're going to go see it. And then they just kept going, and I'm like, I don't care to see Rocky now at 70. At some point, I went, enough is enough for me, man. You're like 70 years old. I had a better tolerance for Arnold Schwarzenegger because he just was a different story for me, you know? So
it was a bit of a different story, yeah.
He was. Sylvester Stallone is like this guy that always wanted to be an actor. He's like a Robert De Niro or like an Al Pacino. Like, that's what they are, the guy that does these movies. Okay, but you can't keep on being in boxing movies until you're 85. It's just not legal.
It's not until you watch the Netflix documentary Sly that you realize he really couldn't do anything else.
He tried.
He kept trying. He wanted so badly to be anything but an action hero and Rambo and a boxer.
I think he was fine being that, but he wanted to be that one of the tools in his toolbox.
Right, but I mean, they kept saying how all those other movies just kept flopping.
Dude.
Every one of them just kept flopping.
Movies. He did that movie where he was like a wealthy gangster in a period piece and it was all about like the relationship with him and his daughter spending too much money, and him being. It was like The Sopranos if it was like super kitschy and like almost like
in the Great Gatsby era, like the 30s or the 20s.
It sucked so hard.
See what I mean?
dude.
That's what I'm saying. That he keeps making these movies that are flops, and he's like, "Oh yeah, how about Rocky 7? Huh? You know what I mean? Like, you don't like that? Rocky 12."
He made some other movies that were action movies. He did this movie.
Yeah, Rambo 3.
Oh, and Rambo. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Rambo, the first Rambo, also, it was just like Rocky. It was like very gritty. He has like this emotional breakdown. They show that.
They
in the
show
doc.
it in there where he's talking about how he wrote it, where he like combined these stories of all these different vets and like put them together.
When I heard him say that he compiled all these people's real like Vietnam horror stories, and he compiled that. It comes out. I mean, you know, it is what it is, but it was way better. Then after that, he's like, now that that's out of the way, let's fucking do. And then,
can I put a gun in my mouth? If I got a gun in each hand, what if I put one and I hold that as one of my teeth and I pull the trigger with my tongue?
And that's what it was, right? A lot of this movie was just him talking about how he ended up doing, like almost excusing these movies. Like, listen, why did I do these? Schwarzenegger features heavily in the documentary. He's like, at some point, it was an arms race. He does this.
Who has bigger muscles and who can hold more guns? You hold a gun. Who has a rocket launcher in their pants?
They have these guns. Okay, these guns that they have in their arms, they're literal like military weapons that like, it's a two-man thing. One guy holds the bullets in the fucking stand.
Yeah.
The other guy just puts it on the stand. Probably because the thing gets like 500 degrees. It's hot fucking shells
and he's
shooting. And he's holding it while he's got a guy in a headlock and he's fucking shooting the other guys. It's great. There's a movie that came out during the mid-'80s.
Of course that movie's not going to flop.
I mean, dude.
Who doesn't want to see that?
So when I'm 11 years old, this is not Sly Stallone, but it's part of this arms race. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He makes a movie called Commando. Was he Commando?
Who's got the bigger knife? Who's got the bigger gun?
He does all the stuff with the guns. He physically beats people. My father used to do this to me all the time.
Physically beats people.
He gets this guy on the plane. He puts his arm around him.
He verbally beats people.
Did I say verbally?
No, I just saying I just think it's funny because you're like, he physically beats people.
You're nothing. You're a piece of garbage. No, he takes this guy that is supposed to be. He puts his arm around him. And he just does this like this little hitch, and it like breaks the dude's neck. And it's like, you're pretty strong, but you're not gonna break it. My dad used to do that to me all the time. They'll grab it. You just make the noise because that's what it is. Then all of a sudden the guy's dead.
Yeah.
He's acting, he's dead. But there's like so many great scenes in that movie, and it's like there is an arms race. Those two guys, there was other guys that got in for like a year or 3 years or whatever, and then they checked out. Arnold and Sylvester Stallone. There was a movie Cobra that Sylvester Stallone was in. He's like a cop. He always played. I do like that. He always played a good. I guess all the action
hero.
guys did though. He was like they always play heroes.
Play a hero, and also, and I like he was like obsessed with certain motifs with the films that he and if he had any sway at all in the movie, he would try everything he had to like, you know, they wanted the guy in Rambo to die at the end. He goes, no, he's like, I don't want these vets to think that their only way out is death. He's like, I want him to see that there's a chance, like you can be a good guy. It's like, yeah, you're tormented, but there's a chance for you to be a good, you know, there is hope for you after this experience of hellacious war. I don't want him to die.
How much?
Plus, if he dies, there's no Rocky 2. There's no Rambo 2, 3, 4, 5. You know?
Right. There's no sequel here. Hey, if he dies, there's no I'm out. How much of this, what he was saying, because it is a documentary of a very old man who had a very public life, is like revisionist history, where he's looking back and going like, I could have said I did that for this. I could have did that for this. You know?
In what capacity?
Well, like
you know?
when he said that he changed the ending of Rambo, he didn't want the guy to die. He can now say, as an old guy, and he might even believe it.
I think there is documentation of you know what the script used to say versus what he changed it to be.
Well, there might be, but do you know what it is? Do we have access to that?
No, but I mean the people he's around, just like there is documentation of them trying to pay him an exorbitant amount of money to not be the lead of Rocky. That's a well-known story. Like they had,
I didn't know that, but I heard that in that.
Isn't that crazy? They were going to pay him in the 70s $250,000 to not be. They're like, how about $250,000? You just give us the script, and why don't you go fuck off?
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, they could have paid me $500,000. Nice deal. You know, I wouldn't have taken it. I would have done it. And it's like, that's, you know, because it was like his only.
That's really cool because that is a real well-known thing that he did. They wanted the script. and it wasn't for him being in it. If someone else is in that, maybe they're the one that goes on to do
exactly.
Rocky
And you know
Rambo.
what I did think of though is how much of it. So they keep talking about how great it was for him, where he's like, you know, it would be, I was in that scene, and then they would keep rolling, and then I would go off script. I'd change my lines, and all these things of him being like, change my lines. They'd give me the script, and I'd rewrite all my lines, and it's like they make it sound in hindsight like, oh wow,
he's an auteur,
what an auteur and a revisionist. It sounds like you're a complete difficult asshole to work with. That's what it actually sounds like. It actually sounds like nobody wants to hire you because the second they hire you, you're going to come and be like, nah, we can't do it this way. And that is like the worst person to work with in Hollywood.
However, he did go on pretty quickly to become like one of these writer, producer, director.
Of course, because that was
guys.
the only way he could get anything done. Because otherwise,
But if he was just difficult, maybe
he couldn't work with anybody otherwise.
Yeah, but I'm just
unless
saying,
he was the one running the ship, steering the ship, acting on the ship, he couldn't work with anybody.
But I think usually those difficult diva people, they don't really go that far. You know what I mean? Because they're too
well,
caught
so
up
he's
on
like
bullshit.
he's
But
like
except
the
he
king
was-
diva.
Maybe, but all of his stuff was wildly successful. Like even
It was.
Schwarzenegger said it was an arms race. He would have a huge gross, then
And
I would
then
get that gross. Then
but-
he would beat me.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't beat Schwarzenegger consistently by just being a diva.
Well, maybe if
bitching.
Schwarzenegger got a pen and paper, got his head out of the gym for 5 seconds, and fucking wrote a single line in his whole life, maybe
he had
he'd
the
fucking.
best catchphrases, and I bet you he came up with a lot of those. I have heard
Something
a lot
tells
of
me-
those throwaway lines. You
Something
know,
tells me he was just like, "What's my line? Coming back, be back. I'll be back later." You know what I mean? Like,
I won't be back. Was what
I
I
want to be
said.
back. I said, you know,
I'm not coming
You know what
back.
the script said?
I'm never coming back.
Where am I going? I don't know.
I have a box of T-shirts in the garage. I'm never coming back.
Oh fuck. I think it was super interesting though. It gives when you see a guy like Sylvester Stallone in his 70s with that fucking face, something's unhinged. It's one thing with a lady that gets a stupid amount of work done because it's already like a woman's arc in life is already
Standard societal pressure.
standard
so
societal
heavy on a
pressure
woman.
so heavy. You already deal with the beauty of youth and then getting older and that beauty fading. That's a woman's arc in life. And that's all. So when you see a lady,
goddamn right it is.
and when you see a lady fighting against that, and it's like how she chooses to fight that, go with it or not go with it, that's one thing. So you get these women, they get, Botox, they got all this crazy stuff.
Lift it, tuck it,
Tuck it, suck it, plump it, twist it, quick crank it, however you want to do it. It's
You
not.
think, wait, there'll be a thing where there'll be like a combination of like Siri and AI where they're like, these women, they get old, they don't want to walk around these huge boobs all the time. So they'll be like, someone's at the door. Siri, inflate the boobs.
Yes, exact. I think there will be. Yeah. So either way, so you have when you see a woman like that, it's not as crazy. But when a guy, is got his face,
His cheeks.
fucking like
his cheeks are mostly what's
dude,
fucked
cheeks,
up.
bro. What is not fucked up on his guy? His eyebrows are permanently stuck. His fucking forehead, his cheeks, dude.
Yeah.
There's so much shit done on his face. He looks like a crazy person.
He does.
And when it's a guy. That's something. That's a you got a real bad like attention problem of like people are not gonna love me. I need to be loved.
He looks so much better if we just saw him at 75.
You see Frank Stallone is his older brother.
Yeah.
He looks 10 times better.
Yeah.
And he has 10 times less work done.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, Sylvester, that's what you could look like. Homie, you could look like your brother.
Once
your
you
brother,
start fucking with it, though, you know what I mean? There's like a line that your body's gonna
well, his
go.
brother clearly has stuff done. There's
what?
clearly, dude, he's older than Sylvester, and he looks like a handsome older gentleman, but clearly has like Botox, maybe a little bit of things here and there, but it's not like upwards of 10, 12 surgeries like fucking Sylvester Stallone's. Like, I'm about to make the Expendables.
It makes sense, though. Frank Stallone lives a regular life, comparatively. With a small circle of people, you can have reality. But when you're Sylvester Stallone, and every single year you're like, how am I going to appeal to billions of strangers?
Well,
he said it too. He admitted that.
It just
sucks that I'm never going to get over this.
He'll never get over it. He had a severe upbringing that left him like yearning. He never got the proper attention from his parents.
Yeah.
So now he seeks it from everybody else. And I think what we're actually seeing here is you see how two people adjust to that, because Frank adjusted to it, was a little more well adjusted, and Sylvester was a little less. They both still yearned for it. They both still went into, you know, like Hollywood and music or whatever they were fucking doing to be popular. But Sylvester was like, had so much more of a deeper hole to be filled for whatever reason, whatever his genetics had him going on with. Like, he just wasn't able to handle it as well as, you know, Frank, you know, a little more well-adjusted. Maybe. I mean, but if I'm judging solely based on how much work you're doing to your face, because there's a point where you wake up and you look in the mirror and you go, all right, this is good. And then there's a point where you look up and you're like, do people are they gonna love me? I need to do this.
So
then maybe they'll
fair.
love me.
That's fair, but I chalk that up to one of those things where, like, I just have to recognize that he had lived such a different cloistered life. Like, there's few people at that level of.
Yeah, but how many of them look like that? How many guys look like that?
A lot of them
look like
Jackson.
that. But that's right. But that's another person with a horrific upbringing and like he was in the public eye since he was like a kid. He doesn't know anything else. Like that's mental illness. It's again mental illness. Like
I
Mickey
feel like
Rourke.
there's a lot of actors that weren't as big but are old, that because their whole life has been I'm on screen, my
Arnold
face has to
Schwarzenegger.
look good. They put an undue amount of importance on how they look, and they're aging. As soon as they realize how old they are, they're going to just drop dead. You know what I mean? Because their whole thing is
but there's a point. It doesn't change. Like
I think it has an impact.
But he looks but he looks terrible.
He does look terrible.
He looks terrible. So how does he not see how terrible he looks?
Well,
It's
what
gotta
I was
be
going to
some
say is
kind
you've
of-
got like a line that your body's going to age, right? And these
Right.
doctors come in and they go, how about if we just fucked this up over here and fix that? And then you go, Doc, I don't like that. And they go, all right, well, how about if we put it back then? And now it's over here, and it's like, no, that's fucked up. All right, well, how about we fix it? Now there's 2 things that are over there.
Of course.
Then there's 3 things. And then he's just like, he's constantly now chasing the dragon of like, fuck, I can't just make him put it back. You can't just put it back. So let's just keep on trying to
Or maybe
fuck
he
with
thinks
it.
he fucking looks
It's like
good,
a
but
painting that you keep on putting more layers on. You're like,
right, but
that
that's
just
the
looks like
thing.
shit.
But that's exactly what we're talking about. It's like, just stop. Just stop, dude. Stop when it looked okay.
Yeah.
Stop when it looked good. And it's like when you keep just going and going and going. It's like
I totally get where
all
you're coming
these-
from.
Yeah.
I just feel like, you know, now that it's fucked up, the
Might as well just make it more
The
fucked
genie's
up.
out of the jar. He's trying to figure it out. You know.
I've also was listening to I think it was On Your Mom's House, and they were talking about people looking terrible, and they brought up Simon Cowell, because Simon Cowell's another one of those guys where you're like, yee, dude.
I haven't
They're
seen
like-
him in a long time. But
So-
yeah, I'm sure there's so much pressure.
Dude,
on
he
him.
looks horrific, and they're like, dude, he looks like. You know who it was? It was Jimmy Carr. You know who Jimmy Carr is? The British guy.
Yeah, we did his fucking his game show.
Dude,
his show.
I loved his show.
You did love his
yeah,
show.
so but
remember
Jimmy,
he has that annoying laugh. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
It's
he
like,
does. So Jimmy Carr was talking about they brought up Simon Cowell. He's like, dude, he looks like a taxidermy human. he looks like taxidermy. But what they started talking about, Jimmy's like, I've had a couple of things done, and he goes, and you know what happened? He goes, there's 2 different kinds. Jimmy, this is what Jimmy's like. There's 2 different kinds of people in the world that have the worst healthcare. That have the absolute worst healthcare. It's the poorest people and the richest people have the worst healthcare, because the poorest people, they can't find any healthcare, and the richest people have too many options of healthcare, and nobody will ever say no to their money. So you go to a doctor and you're a multi-billionaire, and you're like, Doc, can you tweak that? They're like, yeah, sure. The doc will never look at you and be like, actually, I don't think we should do that. It's going to make you uglier.
Well, they
and
might.
then even if they do that, you just go to the next fucking doctor.
Exactly.
So there's the 2 people, which makes perfect sense. It's like, because it has nothing, like they'll get 3 guys that'll tell you, hey, don't do that, but then the 4th guy is going to be like, sure, what do you want? We'll do it tomorrow. You know what I mean? And it's and it makes perfect sense. But then you get these people like Mickey Rourke, Simon Cowell, fucking Sylvester Stallone.
Anybody with a ton of movie with a real vested interest in trying to, you can't.
Not everybody, but there's so many old actors that don't look like shit.
Yeah.
That are just as big, or I mean, Mickey Rourke's not by far not the biggest old actor in the world. I mean, I can think of like 10 other guys older than him that are bigger actors. That don't look
Schwarzenegger,
like
I think,
dog
has had
shit.
a little bit of stuff done,
but
I think
he doesn't look bad.
he doesn't, because I think his MO is like, I'm all natural and just lifting and life.
But I think he also has like
he's at a
head shoulder, like he looks at himself and goes, "This looks good." Like he knows he's not. I also don't think he's as starving for attention, and is not as afraid of the attention disappearing as Sylvester. Sylvester Stallone is so terrified of the attention disappearing that he's like, what do I got to do? Rocky 20? Come on, love me.
Yeah.
Like That's what I'm experiencing from him.
Yeah.
Is
What-
I'll
you
do
know-
fucking Rocky 205 if I got it, please.
He would. We saw the thing starts. There's a couple things I did like about this doc, the actual doc itself. First, it starts with like a really serious kind of start for his life. Like his dad was a fucking asshole, like super brutal, beat the shit out of those
Abusive,
guys.
horrific. The whole polo
Like Hell's
thing.
Kitchen, like, you know, beat the shit out of the guy.
Yeah.
He said some of the things he said at 70 were just so like they were gripping to me when he's like, hey, you knew when he came home from work, just the way he was eating his food, the way he held his fork, you're gonna get your fucking ass
Dude,
kicked.
that'll send a chill down your spine.
damn
Because your
it.
dad was in the fucking cavalry of World War II.
That was in the cavalry, by the way. Yeah, like
My
down on the
grandfather, my
Mexican
great grandfather
border.
was in the cavalry in World War II.
That's some hardcore shit.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Dude, people are driving around in tanks and they got your ass on a fucking horse. That is insane.
There's a cool World War II movie I saw back with DVD by mail from Netflix.
They still do that.
They still do that. Someone said, yeah.
No, I said that.
You said that.
I was at did I tell you the story where I was at the post office?
Yeah.
And I was, I was,
that's
I
right.
was
Some
filling
lady
something
came
out.
in.
Some old lady came out and she goes, I just got to drop this off. And she laid it down and walked up. And I walked up and I saw it. And dude, it was a fucking Netflix DVD.
Netflix DVD.
I'm like, you got to be the last lady.
Dude, I did it for years. But like you went onto the website and you had
Yeah.
your queue and you mailed them back and
They just send you the next one.
I saw a movie that was set in Finland in World War II, and there was a fucking whole platoon or squadron or whatever, these Finnish dudes, they were on fucking 10 speeds. No, not 10 speeds, bicycles with just one gear. But like
Fixed gear bikes.
Yeah, fixed gear fucking bikes. They're in the trees. He's like, get down. My kickstand won't come down. Ah.
You're joking.
No, I fucking swear to God.
Was it based on a true
yes.
story?
Fucking swear to God, dude.
They were fighting.
Finnish
They were
fixed-
fighting the most advanced,
I don't know if there was
technological
much-
advanced war that the Earth had ever seen on bicycles.
Fucking swear to God, dude. Swear to God.
Was that a joke? Could you imagine getting drafted and you're like, sorry, all the tanks are gone?
We're taking you. You have a bike. Put it in the truck.
I'd be like, hey, I think I'll walk.
Can
I'll
we go in the
march.
truck? No, we got to go back and get more guys with bikes. You can just bike out to the front. You'll
Just
find
bike out.
it. Swear to God. it was
Sorry,
a
we're
real
out of
movie.
bikes. Do you have a bike at home
They
you
had
can
like
go
guns.
get?
They had like like the old school like one shot fucking army
Muskets?
Not muskets, but like one shot fucking
Rifle.
rifles. And they're biking, and the fucking rifles are up there, and they're biking in a pack. Legit. So, it's actually a good movie. So, but what I was saying is,
And nothing was paved.
they were like in the woods and shit, dude. There was like trails. Yeah, it was pretty.
No,
fucked
dude,
up.
go fuck yourself. That's what that is. I'm going AWOL.
So we see that he had a really hard, shitty childhood.
I'm not fighting krauts on a fucking fixie. Sorry.
They're Finns. I don't know what side they were on, but anyway.
Yeah, what kind of movie were you watching? What side were those fins on?
So he starts out, it's really hard. He's getting the shit beat out of him. He gets into acting kind of early, realizes his thing. He's like surprised. And then he ends up playing like mook roles, like the fucking greaser type thing. He was in one movie that was kind of a big thing for him, which was God, what the hell was the name of the movie? It was a movie with
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler directed it.
No, Henry Winkler was in it. What, Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah.
We're still talking about Sylvester?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the movie? It was this.
I don't know,
first
because Quentin
movie.
Tarantino kept talking about it in the documentary.
That's right. Quentin Tarantino featured heavily in this. He loved Sylvester Stallone.
Apparently, yeah.
As like a cultural icon. He was like, oh man, he was part of the landscape.
Dude, he looks like a walking wax figure of Sylvester Stallone. Like if they,
know.
have you ever been to one of those wax museums?
Yeah.
Dude, it looks like, when they go and they make a wax figure of like
So
one of the
close,
actors.
but not
It's like this uncanny valley of like, it kind of creeps you the fuck out.
Yeah.
It looks like they made one of Sylvester Stallone and then that came to life, and that's the Sylvester Stallone we have now.
I know. I know, it was weird. And they showed a lot of footage of him in the old days too, like video and stills, and you're like, he was such a good looking
Handsome
guy.
fucking dude.
Yeah.
And then it would cut to his brother Frank, and you're like, Sly, that's what you could look like.
Yeah.
What did you do, homie?
Yeah. And I said it to you earlier. Every time Frank Stallone was in it, I just think of the old Norm Macdonald. A lot of people saw it when he was on, especially when he was on a Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live. He'd make this totally out of nowhere joke. We don't know what killed all those Japanese miners 6 weeks ago, but I'll tell you what I think. It was Frank Stallone. And they used the same exact stock footage because
Was it the Lords of Flatbush?
the Lords of Flatbush. Thank you. That was like early 70s, predates all that stuff. He's in it, and he decides he's going to be an actor after that. He can't get the roles that he wants, so he writes Rocky with his brother. Him and Frank Stallone wrote it.
Yeah.
He gets all the credit, and Frank Stallone tried to keep going, and it was just like,
And he's like, I guess
Sylvester
I'll
Stallone put
I'll
the-
sing songs.
yeah, he was like, I guess we're not. What do you think about this, Sylvester? Sylvester, he's gone. He's in the stratosphere, and Frank Stallone just hung around. I feel like they still had a good relationship, but I don't know.
Yeah, he was writing all those songs. Dude, that song is almost as iconic, if not more iconic.
What song?
Eye of the Tiger?
Frank Stallone wrote "Eye of the Tiger."
Is that not Frank Stallone? Who is it then?
No way. That's a very iconic song. That's fucking Survivor. It's a group
No,
called
that is
Survivor.
that is Survivor.
Yeah.
No, what song? No, he did Frank Stallone. That's why when he was sitting in his house, he had all the golden records behind him on the wall.
Huh.
Frank Stallone. What songs did Frank Stallone?
That is fucking awesome.
Songs?
Yeah, he's had a little work done too.
Rocky 3, Pushin', Love, Bad Night, Take You Back, Moody, Waking Up.
So he let him do like songs for the movies then.
Yeah.
That was like his, okay. I guess I kind of remember them talking about that, but I don't know.
Frank Stallone, and then he was like a singer. Dude, and then, it just, his dad being like jealous of him constantly.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, like the fucking horse thing. That's what I was
like
going to
when
say.
they moved to Maryland, and his dad had like this polo thing, and Sylvester was like ranked, like he was like 13 years old, becoming ranked in polo matches.
Yeah.
And his dad came out on the field and grabbed him by the throat, threw him off the fucking horse, and then left with.
Because he said he
horse.
wasn't like, technically playing the right way or whatever. And he said, I never rode a horse again. Then years later, when he's rich,
When he's
Sylvester
40.
Stallone, when he's 40, he organizes this really big, well-to-do polo match on like the place to do it. And he lets his dad play with him. His dad must have been like fucking 60-something.
On the other team.
And his dad fucking almost kills him. He like fucking hits him with his mallet, knocks him off the horse. He almost gets trampled. And then at the end, there's like a little joke. He's like, hey, look at this. The only fucking cheap shot was my dad. I almost died, though, but everyone's laughing.
Everyone's
That's
laughing,
just the
and then
Stallones.
clearly he's like, dude, what the fuck? It never ends with this asshole. It's
Yeah.
like he goes and he tries to make amends and try to do something for his dad, and his dad is still like, what, are you jealous? How could you be jealous?
Yeah.
How could you be anything but proud of your fucking kid? You know what I mean? It's
If
just
you're
crazy
like
to
a
me.
broken person, though, like
Of course.
you're broken, and
You're
then
broken.
shit just keeps on coming at you, and you deal with it poorly because you're broken.
Was it-
He,
I'm
he had
pretty
to live
sure-
with the dad for a lot longer than Frank, by the way, because they got
Yeah.
separated. The dad moved down to Maryland when they were like 12, and he had to keep putting
Again,
up
is
with this
probably why
bullshit.
he's more mentally kind of
right. Frank had
skewed.
some years maybe of like pre-adult life where he's like, oh, this is how it should be. It's gonna be better.
Yeah, this is gonna be better. And if I'm not mistaken, once Rocky came out, didn't his dad wrote a movie called Sonny, and it was supposed to be like the father of Rocky or something, and try to get.
Yes.
He tried to like was giving it. He's like, what are you
He's trying
fucking
to-
doing, dude?
Yeah.
You fucking loser, get out of here.
That
like,
was
oh, that's a
awesome.
pretty good movie, but I got a movie for you. Here you go. This is the real Rocky right here.
It must have been really hard for him to deal with his fucking. I don't know how much longer his dad fucking lived after that. He lived until he was at least 40.
Dude, yeah, over he's 40. His dad lived till in his 90s.
Oh my god!
Didn't you see that?
Oh,
went,
yeah,
remember?
yeah.
He went up. Frank's like, I organized. They hadn't spoken for years. I organized for Sylvester to come out and talk to him, and he came out. And Sylvester's like, yeah, on his deathbed, he comes up to me and he says,
"Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. You got to forgive people."
Yeah, he's like,
are you fucking kidding me?
that's right,
dude. What a dick till the end.
Well, it's nice that he had his little turnaround at the end, right? You don't want anybody to be a dick right into the grave, so that's good that he had his
Crazy.
little last second thing. But yeah, that's right. His dad did live till he was wicked fucking old.
Wicked fucking old.
One of Sylvester. They mentioned one of Sylvester Stallone. They don't mention it.
They don't say how.
His kid, right?
It was his only son. It was his firstborn, Sage Stallone.
Yeah, he died like in his early 20s.
In 2012.
He had like I looked it up on Wikipedia. Did you look it up? The way they put it in
coronary artery disease.
there. Yeah, it seemed
And died in his sleep. Had nothing in his system but over-the-counter painkillers.
in his 20s. Now, doesn't that seem like a story that could have been kind of, if you're Sylvester Stallone?
I said the same thing
Could
to
be
Christy, and
doctored to
she's
clean
like,
up.
I don't know. I'm like, yeah, you.
I don't know. It's
I'm like-
Wikipedia. It's pretty solid.
I'm like, it sounds.
Meanwhile, Wikipedia's like, if you will send us $3, hey,
We'll say.
hey, I got a check for $35. How about you change that Sage thing?
That's right, dude. Dude, it's. it's so. But that I also brought up like Bruce Lee. I'm like, it's eerily similar to how Bruce Lee died. It's like a guy that's like the picture of health and like of like fitness and health and kung fu and all this stuff just dies in his sleep. From what? From nothing. He has the toxicology says. I'm like more like the business around him is like, now we can't let what's actually killed him or come out. It's like, I think there's got to be more to it when people like that die like that.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The respected current theory, because I've looked into this a lot, is that where his house was in Beverly Hills is like one of the central spots with chemtrails. When those planes are leaving, they drive practically right over the Lee mansion.
And that's what killed.
I mean, there's no
Prince too. Prince died of the same thing.
He's right. I mean, you go right through the Lee mansion, you go right to Minneapolis, and then they turn and come back. It's the chemtrail circle.
Human body can only take so much chromium. And that's fact, Jack. That's fact, Jack.
This was a good documentary. I liked it because there was a frame device they used for the whole thing, right? He said a line that I really loved. I don't know if it's his line or someone else. He says, "Up until you're 40, life is addition. After, or in the beginning of your life, it's all addition. Good things, everything's happening. After 40, it's all subtraction." It's I mean,
I like that. He had a lot of little things like that.
He did, but I feel like he's also a guy that spent a lot of time in the mirror going, "Hey, if you fuck both of them, no, that ain't good.
It ain't good.
Hey,
life's like a train.
Slice, yeah."
It's bumpy sometimes. No,
Life
it's not
is
going to
like
work.
a
That's
box
not
of chocolate. You want to fucking punch this guy. I feel like he spent a lot of
when
time.
life gets you down, make Rocky 12.
Yeah, exactly.
That's essentially what happened.
I mean,
it's like he made Rocky. It was awesome, and then he's like, "All right, now I'm going to try a comedy movie. All right, that doesn't work. Rocky 2."
Dude, he made a handful. I'm trying to think of any movie that wasn't a action movie.
It flopped. If it wasn't Rocky or Rambo or the Expendables, it flopped.
Have you seen any of those Expendables, by the way? I haven't seen.
I think I saw the first one.
Yeah, it just seems like what I hate about America.
None of that.
It's also what I love about America. But what I hate about America, what I love about America is that we know how to fucking scientifically produce the Big Mac so that it is fucking perfect in all ways. Every time. But what I don't like is when it's not perfect and I can see behind the curtain and I'm like, you just focus grouped all the best lines from Austin Powers 1 and then just tried to like put it in another movie and just fucking pitch it to us. It's like, that's
Austin Powers 2, The Search for More Money.
Yeah, it fucking sucked. It's not. It's when... So America does things to a certain extent. I think with Sylvester Stallone, what I don't like is that it was just that he makes these fucking movies and I don't know. I think I actually lost my fucking train there.
Life is like a train. All right?
Oh, the Expendables.
And nothing hits harder than a train.
The Expendables. I'm sorry. The Expendables is what I was talking about. I don't know. I had Rambo in my mind. I'm like, no, I have nothing bad to say about the Rambo franchise. But the Expendables is like, let's take people like Doritos, people like M&Ms, people like handjobs. Let's crunch up some Doritos and M&Ms, melt it on a cock, and mail it to the fucking Kremlin because they're the fucking... It's like, I can't fucking watch all
What are you talking about? That sounds great.
Oh, my God. Brought to you by the same people that brought you the Cool Ranch Blowjob by Popco.
The Cool Ranch.
It's just too much. It's too much. There's only so much. Even I, as like the specimen of an American fucking give it to me.
Dude,
There's
that's
just too much. The
that's
Expendables
what we
too much.
export.
That's what we export.
Cool Ranch Blowjobs.
I couldn't watch the fucking Expendables. And on an unrelated note, those fucking Fast and Furious movies.
It's the same thing, dude.
It's the closest thing you can have to like a movie with just the cars driving, What do you drive? I drive.
Fast. I go fast.
Yeah.
I go fast. I'm about to lose. Then I win.
You check it out. No, this one ain't about wheelies. This one's about peeling out. Like, we fucking slide, man. It's fucking totally different shit.
Totally different. This one we're stealing cars, but this one we're giving cars back to the kids.
Yeah, I mean...
And then we steal them back again.
I cannot... there's a limit I have. That's all. And the Expendables starts north of that limit. It started there, and I'm like...
It is like the...
Make 30 of them. I don't give a fuck.
And neither does he.
President Biden gets fucking his head lopped off in one, or he's Fuck it, put muscles on him and a fucking do whatever you want. I don't care. I can't do it. I can't do it. But Rocky, awesome franchise, and I grew up with it, so that was the best one. Rambo, the first one was pretty cool.
Incredible.
I don't even know how many more they did because there was so many action movies and they weren't memorable for me. So, but I liked that. And what I liked about the doc, I sidetracked myself and I'm getting back to it. We're talking about his life. He's kind of unpacking his life and getting to the end and telling us, I'm at the end. Let me tell you how the story went. And what's the whole thing that's happening while they're doing it?
They're packing his shit up and moving it
Packing his gigantic mansion
up.
and moving it away. You know, and sometimes they could do something cool. He's like, I thought I was a fucking hero. And there's like 4 dudes wrapping up a fucking marble statue that he has in his house, like bigger than him in his house. That would be awesome.
Put that up so I can...
9-foot statue of yourself.
So I can look at it of me in my house.
It was, but I like that.
He goes to his fucking rhinoplasty. He goes, oh, I want to look like that.
We just watched a doc a month ago, about Beckham, right?
Yeah.
One of the things we liked about him is we do see like what makes him tick. He's like a very particular. He likes things in order. He's like we thought maybe even autistic or like whatever.
OCD.
He's got his little. He's the biggest guy in the world, but he's like, I got my bubble and I'm happy to be there. You guys can watch it. Send me money. I'll step outside of it. I'll sign whatever you guys want. But when I'm off camera, and when I'm out of that, I want my little bubble. I'm going to go to bed at night, go pick up all the dishes, fucking set the lights, and do my thing. Sylvester Stallone, I feel like kind of had that. But his thing was that my father beat the shit out of me every fucking day. I'm not going to let anybody beat the shit out of me. I'm going to constantly be going out there trying to do the next thing. And beat the next thing. And he goes, maybe I got a little too soft in my fucking mansion. Fuck this shit. I'm going to go to the next thing. I feel like he did that, or at least his version of that, where he like tore things down and like got back to his roots. And he probably felt like that when he leaves his mansion. With each room has different fucking.
I mean, do you think he's not just going to another mansion?
No, I don't. I think he's going to like the movie set for like 3 months or 4, whatever, and doing. And you know, he probably was breaking his balls because he was doing so many things. And these movies, you know, I mean, they made money, so they weren't like shitty. So he was doing something right. He commits himself to it. Then he comes back to the mansion. He's like, man, now I got to go do it again because I'm getting soft here. Look at this. I'm just staring at a statue of me. You ever been there before? You're staring at a statue of yourself and you're like, this fucking money leaking out of my pocket.
You want to talk about not being relatable.
So anyway, I thought that was likable. For me, that was likable that he was so... It gets pathetic to a certain point because you're like, well, at some point, don't you kind of like step into like the later part of life and be like, what are we here for? He's like, what are we here for? We're here fucking Rocky 6. Then we're going to take those grosses and we're going to put it in the neck. It's like, you gotta be able to move on. And if you're limited to a certain capacity, like I think Beckham will be the same guy. He's going to be in that box, maybe not turn into like this philosophical... I think part of the last part of life is about trying to figure out, you're going to die. Are you going to be preparing for your own death?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't see a Sylvester Stallone doing that. He's like, the day he dies, he'll be under the knife. They'll be putting a fucking Botox thing in his fucking ball sack.
I'm going to put a chin on my forehead.
Put a chin on my forehead, yeah. I mean, that's where he'll be. You know, Beckham, I guarantee he'll be fucking oiling something to a high shine when he drops dead. There's no thought about his maker or his, and that's fine.
And there's something beautiful about that.
There is something beautiful about that. He's not going to waste his time.
I'll be polishing something to a high shine, dude.
The horror will be like, no, wait.
Yeah, the horror will be there's
Look
one
at
more.
this.
There's one more spot he didn't get, and then he'll reincarnate all over again.
What else? Anything else you want to say about this movie?
Oh well, we got to rank it.
Oh, we got to rank it.
So we're gonna rank it. I'll rank it. I'm gonna, you know, I'll be honest. I'm gonna watch it if it's there. I love if it is really cool to see that you said it was the first documentary of Sylvester Stallone, and it is kind of cool to get that inside look. I mean, he's an iconic. He's an American icon. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. There is no debate about it. There's a pantheon of American icons when it comes to like film and when it comes to just all kinds of things, and undoubtedly Rocky and Rambo and the character of Sylvester Stallone and these other characters that he plays, it's like it's a part of American history. So you have to, I mean, it's interesting to watch it. If you're not going to watch the movie, it's interesting to watch that. Here it is kind of sad, and you know what I do like that he is.
You really were sad? You were
Well, I mean, it's sad to hear like that your parents suck so bad. That sucks.
Yeah.
That fucking sucks. And it's even, but it is respectable when your parents suck so bad, and that's like you yearn for attention, and approval from strangers because you never received it from your parents. And there's something respectable about you going, I'm looking for approval from strangers because my parents sucked, which he did. And so there's a sadness to it. There is some things where I'm like, he kind of sounds like maybe he was just a bit of an asshole to work with. That's why if he wasn't making his own stuff, he wasn't gonna go anywhere, because as soon as he walked into somewhere, he's butting heads immediately with whoever's in charge. He's immediately like, nah, we gotta write it this way. And they're like, dude, come on, just fucking do the line. Get the fuck out of here, dude. He's like, nah, well, let's do another take. And it's like, God, this asshole's constantly like rewriting lines, and then somebody else is like waiting for their line cue. They never get their line cue because he changed his fucking line. And they're like, well, you didn't, I changed that to acting, And it's like, I'm sure at some point he was just an arrogant dickhead when it came to that stuff.
He probably had his point there, because everyone does.
And then,
when he
everyone does, but and it sounds like that kind of person. Like, it does kind of sound like that person. It can't take anything away from the stuff that he wrote and directed and produced himself, because, it was all him. He didn't have to deal with anybody. There was no pushback from anyone being like, I'm going to change the lines.
It sounds to me that Sylvester Stallone did not have much of an impact on your life in a whole. You saw this and you're like, I know who Sylvester Stallone is. And
I mean, I loved Rocky. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's for me. I'm going to say
my whole life was after the entire Sylvester Stallone. There was no, what the Expendables came out. I was like, action movies were.
You were conceived. Your mother told me you were conceived during the premiere of the Expendables.
Of Rambo 2. So fucking, but like. The action movie heyday was like 80s, 90s. Like, that was it. And then it's like, dude, I can tell you there's 10 million fucking action movies. You don't have that core of like stars. So it's like I missed the whole thing. The movies were already existing, but they weren't, the impact had already been set. All the movies I was watching were inspired by that era, and that's where we were now. And so it's like, yeah, I thought it was great. It was really interesting to hear about him. If you're, obviously, if maybe you're a little older, you might want to. I would just say watch it if it's there.
I'm a little older,
and so you might say must watch.
Yeah, I would say must watch, because he is a cultural icon. I didn't even realize it when I was watching it until I was like into it. I was like, yeah, this guy is actually one of those fucking guys that he was larger than life for like a fucking very long time, 20 years. He's kind of slipped off relevancy for the last 15 years or whatever. Everybody still knows his name, though.
And so one day he woke up and he goes, nobody's talking about me anymore. You think I can get a documentary? That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, it probably was, but I liked it, though. It wasn't like this self-aggrandizing thing. He let
Hey, Arnold, do you think you can give me the phone number to Netflix and you need a...
He let stuff happen in the doc that was not particularly... great for him,
Which I do respect that.
Yeah.
I greatly respect a guy that's not...
and just the Rocky movies and what he did and how big he was, like every little thing was fucking followed back then. You know what I mean? He was one of those original guys that like the paparazzi figured out how to do their thing. You got to be where fucking Sylvester Stallone is. Wherever he was the thing. So,
true.
Yeah, I would say you got to watch it, because he's, obviously if you're older. If you're younger and you don't care about Sylvester Stallone...
Well, you could still say across the board, everybody got to watch it. I'm going to say everybody watch it if it's there. So that's our take. Must watch it if it's there. I think I want to hold on to the must watches until there's like,
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
Save them.
I want to save it up.
Save them.
I want to save it so that way
Reptile 2.
When Reptile 2 comes out, it can really get people going. All right, so next week, what we will be watching is another, obviously, surprise, Netflix original. A Netflix original series, Fairy, the series. Desperate for funds, Ferry Bowman stumbles upon a golden opportunity when a high-profile bust leaves a vacant position among Brabant's top dealers. A couple of those words in there to me are fucking gibberish. I don't really know what they fucking mean. I don't know what Brabants are. I don't know anything. This actor looks like a fucking caricature of another actor or something like that. I've never seen him.
Me neither. Is that a photo or is that like a painting?
It's a photo. Heavily photoshopped and light changing, but it's definitely.
I was thinking he looked like a samurai or something. Like an old samurai.
He looks like a guy who's supposed to be like a bloated soprano, but from like the Bolsheviks. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of shit going on in that photo. There's a lot of layers.
He looks
of
like a
photoshopping.
Bolshevik fucking gangbanger.
I honestly have no idea what I'm going into with this
Me
one.
neither.
I'm just going with it.
Going out of my comfort zone, but definitely check it out for next week's Millennial Book Club presented by Road Soda Studios. Thank you, everybody.
Night.